In this video, you are going to learn how to repeat the Excel table-based report in the 3v app and set up the necessary calculations. This table is quite simple, and by its example we will show you the basic techniques of how to transfer and create such tables in 3v app. To create this table, we need to consider the data and understand what data sources we need and how to create them in 3v app. Usually, working with the table, we operate with rows, columns and data. As a rule, in one or more of the first table columns, we can see the items belonging to one or more lists, dictionaries. The column headers are also specific lists of items. The area at the intersection of rows and columns contains certain data, which in 3v app are called indicators. If you see data of one type and one unit of measure in your table, it is data of one indicator. So, in the 3v app, the data sources for building reports are dictionaries and indicators. This table contains the company's manufacturing costs for 2021. Here, in the first column, we can see the data on cost items. There are also elements here that are calculated totals. The data in the table are manufacturing costs. These data are of the same type, the same units of measure, and relate to the same fact. This data is also displayed by months. And the last column is a total, which is calculated as the sum of months. And we can define that we need the dictionaries, cost items, and calendar, and the manufacturing costs indicator for the report in 3v app. A dictionary is a data that uniquely identifies objects of something, for example, lists of employees, clients, products, etc. To create a dictionary, you need to click the Create button, Create Dictionary, and the dictionary is ready to use. In the constructor, you can set the name and identifier of the dictionary to easily search and work with it. You can add items to the dictionary, and let's copy items from the Excel file. It's done. Here we can see the items, but the structure with no hierarchy. There are several ways to build a hierarchy. I'll show you the method of building a hierarchy by parent-child relation. There is a parent attribute which you need to fill in for the children and set the identifier of the parent. This method is often used when data needs to be stored for parent items in an indicator. Variable manufacturing costs is a parent for the raw materials. Let's fill in the parent attribute for the raw materials with the ID value for the raw variable manufacturing costs. And repeat for other items. Let's repeat it for the overhead costs. Click Save and refresh, and get the dictionary with the hierarchy. It's done. A calendar dictionary is a dictionary that contains items of different levels such as years, quarters, months and days. To create a dictionary, you need to click the Create button, Create Calendar Dictionary, and the dictionary is ready to use. For this type of dictionaries, in the constructor only need to specify the start date, end date and the necessary levels. If necessary, you can select the levels you want. Let's set the name. And dictionary items will be generated automatically. An indicator is data that is characterized by several parameters. Indicator parameters mean indicator dictionaries in 3v.app. Let's create the manufacturing costs indicator. For the indicator, we already have dictionaries cost items and calendar. Let's create a dictionary which will store the names of the indicator facts. Such a dictionary can be common to several indicators. Let's call it facts. In this example, we have only one fact that characterizes the table. This is a manufacturing costs. In the future, you can expand this dictionary with various attributes. Next, let's create an indicator manufacturing costs. An indicator is a multidimensional structure in which data is stored in different sections. In our example, the indicator sections are the cost items and calendar dictionaries. Let's move these dictionaries to the indicator dictionaries area. And the facts dictionaries to the facts dictionary area of the indicator. Let's select the fact. And for the fact, we can set properties, for example, data type, but double, it's correct for our example. Click Done and save. And now this indicator is ready to use for report building. A report is a way to present data from various dictionaries and indicators in a table view. You can use many dictionaries and many indicators in one report. Let's create a report. To create a report, you need to click the Create button, Create Report. To set up a report using the example of the Excel table, we need to move the cost items dictionary to the rows and move manufacturing costs indicator to the columns. The first column is the name attribute from the cost items dictionary. It was added automatically. From the calendar dictionary of the indicator, mark the items that we need. And for the facts dictionary, there is one item, manufacturing costs, in the facts dictionary. Click Done and save. And the report is ready. In the columns, we see unnecessary elements here and here, and let's remove them in the constructor. To remove unnecessary elements, we need to hide the name of the indicator and the facts dictionary by clicking on the I button. Let's leave displaying only calendar items and set the name. Click Done and save. Also, we can hide the name of the first column in the constructor, columns tab, name column, and in the display settings we can choose custom name and leave it empty. Now let's enter the data. We can copy it from the Excel file. Click Save. It's done. Because parent items are calculated items and counted as the sum of the child items, we need to add aggregation of the indicator. This type of calculation is needed to perform automatic calculations of the data within the indicator based on the selected aggregation type. For this report, we will set up aggregation for these rows. For these settings, we need to open the report constructor and go to the tab columns. Select the indicator and in the right area on the tab properties set the aggregation by rows sum. There is aggregation by rows and columns, but we need aggregation just by rows. It's done. Now we can see the data on these rows like in the Excel file. But in the Excel file we can also see the total row, total manufacturing costs. Let's add it. Totals are virtual report rows which are needed to view the totals for one or more row dictionaries. In this example, we need to add one total row, total manufacturing costs. For these settings, we need to open the report constructor, go to the tab rows, calculate it, and add virtual element. And in the right area on the tab properties, set the name, position at the beginning, and group in child elements. To calculate the total, we need to set aggregation by the indicator on the columns tab. In this example, row aggregation is already on. Done. And now we can see the data on the total row like in the Excel file. In our example, we have one calculation column, total. Let's set it up. There are several ways to set up a column total. The first way is to set up aggregation by columns. To do this, we need to mark the year and set the aggregation by columns on. But with this way, the total is shown at the beginning. The second way to calculate the column totals to add a virtual indicator. The virtual indicator can be arranged in any order between columns in the report. To do this, you need to add a virtual indicator on the column tabs and configure its properties. It's done. Now let's set a formula for this column. First, let's set a simple formula. Because the formula constructor is currently unavailable, this feature is in progress, we will make changes in the JSON editor. We need to open the JSON editor, find the formula in the top header, add a mark for all months and the aggregation type sum. And save changes. Now, if we change the data in the report, all the totals will be calculated automatically. So, that's how easily we repeated the Excel spreadsheet in the 3v.app report.